I'm trying something new. Winter camping with a pulk, a sled for hauling gear. I do not like to be cold. What I'm hoping for is to have a winter backpacking trip that is warm, comfortable, and, dare I say, luxurious. Come along and see if I can stay warm when the temperature drops to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll share some cold weather camping tips too. I'm Donna, and this is Some Bold Adventure. Join me on my hiking and travel adventures. My biggest worry getting here was that I wouldn't be able to get my adventure mobile into the parking lot because my car is not really built for this sort of thing. But no problem, there are other cars here, people out skiing, hiking, and so forth. So parking lot's all right. It's not great, but it's okay. My car can handle it. So as long as I don't get snowed in overnight, I should be good. Got my gear all packed up. It's kind of a lot of gear. I feel like maybe I should have gotten a bigger sled. I brought a lot of things because I intend to be very comfortable. Just leaving the parking lot. The sled is heavy, no doubt about that. It's not terrible, it's just making me go very slowly. I brought a lot of things, but I'm only probably hiking in a couple of miles. Nothing too tough. Here's where I'm at, Nordhouse Dunes Wilderness. I've made it to where I'm going to camp for tonight. I went 0.6 miles, which is not very far, but far enough. I'm back here in the woods away from everyone. It's quiet. I found a low spot where I'm away from the wind. There's enough tree cover. I shouldn't get too buried in the snow tomorrow. I've left a map ping on my phone to how to get back to the trail, so I don't get confused if the tracks are gone in the morning. We're supposed to get anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of snow overnight. So I want to be prepared for that and make sure I can get back out of here tomorrow. Now I have to set up my camp and get comfortable. Tent is all set up. Snow is starting to fall, so I got it up just in time. I did a terrible job with the tarp. I didn't bring quite enough rope or have quite enough trees to tie it up properly. This is how it's looking, but the problem is it's snowing. The snow is going to weigh down on that tarp and it's going to be a problem. So in a little while I will probably drop the edges so it does not pool up snow on top of it. My tent does not have heavy enough walls. It's a 3-season tent. It isn't made to handle heavy snow, so I brought the tarp. But if I set the tarp up wrong, my GoPro says the battery's low. It's at 71% and it says it's low. I think it's not happy about the cold, so out here with my phone. But there's where I'm at. I'll adjust the tent or the tarp on top of the tent later. Right now I'm about to go clean up inside my tent. I've just thrown everything inside. Then I'm gonna get some lunch and get comfortable. Inside my tent, just getting everything set up. I've had one mishap already. I was sitting on the tent floor thinking, ooh, that is cold on my backside. It must be I can feel the snow through the tent. And then realized I was leaning on my water bottle and it leaked and I filled my tent with water. So I've been cleaning that up. Fortunately, I have a towel with me because I swear I always spill water in my tent. It's just bad when it's so cold. You don't want to be wet. So got that dried up and now I'm trying to get my sleeping area set up. At least I spilled the water before I set up my sleeping stuff because that would have been really bad to get that wet. But I'm comfortable in here at the moment. I have put the heater on because I brought a heater, and so it's very nice in here. Getting ready to make some lunch right now. I actually brought a microwave meal, not a backpacker meal, figuring I can still make it with hot water. We'll see how it goes. Teriyaki noodle bowl. I've also brought some extra green beans to put in it since I can bring fresh food on this trip since it's cold enough. There's my teriyaki noodle dish. It's all right. I've had better. Usually I make my own backpacking meals, but it's off season and I didn't have any, so I just grabbed some things at the store real quick before I left. But I'm only out here for 2 days. I'm not going to starve. Now that camp's all set up, I'm going to just walk around a little bit, see what's around here. I was going to do more hiking, but it's 4:30. I'm going to run out of daylight. Better to stay close. I just want to walk through the woods a little. These animal tracks. Since I had the sled and could bring more gear than I would bring in a backpack, I was able to bring a lot more for winter camping than I would normally bring. I'm going to go through what I brought as far as my sleeping system goes for this trip. I have, on the bottom here, a foam sleep pad. That is on the very bottom floor of the tent. Underneath, or on top of that, you see this. This is a foil emergency. It's a bivy sack, so it's like a sleeping bag, but foil. That is wrapped around my actual air mattress, which has a good R rating. It's made for cold weather. But I wrapped the foil around that to try and keep the cold air from seeping through it as much as possible. On top of this, I have the sheet that's part of my Zen Bivy bed system. And then I have my Zen Bivy quilt, which I think is rated to 23 or 25 degrees. Then I have another sleeping bag. I don't remember the rating on this one either, but it's a good cold weather bag. So I'm sleeping in both of those tonight. I also have a sleeping bag liner, which is here. That will go on the inside for just a little bit of added warmth. So I have lots of things to stay warm on this trip. I've got hand warmers too, which I can put in there to warm things up if I get chilly. But I should have enough things that I won't be cold. I also brought a blanket. I told you I brought a lot of stuff. This is why the sled was so heavy. I also brought a blanket, so lots of things for staying warm overnight. For the ultimate in staying warm while cold weather camping, I also brought this heater. It's my first time to try a heater while camping. I'm not going to leave it on while sleeping, it's too risky, but just to warm things up a little bit. Particularly when I first wake up in the morning, if my fingers are cold, if my toes get cold, it's nice to be able to warm things up a little bit. I had it on once already since I got here, and I put it on for about 5 minutes, and it got to be 70-some degrees inside my tent pretty quickly. It took only about 5 minutes to do that, which is great. So enough to get warmed up if it gets really cold. Overall, I think I have enough stuff that being cold isn't going to be a problem. Current temperature in my tent, 27 degrees Fahrenheit. So far it's comfortable. It's in the evening now. It's a little after 6 o'clock. I've been reading for a while, just laying in my tent. I've left the door open just so I could see outside, but it's starting to get dark enough. I'm going to shut it up, try and keep it a little bit warmer in here. I turned the heater on 7 minutes ago, and it's currently 82 degrees in my tent. It's a little warmer than I need it to be, though it cools off really fast once I turn the heater off. There's no adjusting the settings, there's no high or low or anything, it's just a one-speed kind of thing, so it's definitely warmed up in here, and very quickly. It's just about 7 p.m. and I'm now making dinner. Dinner is beef stew. It's steaming up my camera. Getting ready for a little hot cocoa this evening. It looks so good. It looks like my tent's on fire. Good morning. I have survived the night and it was great. I was so incredibly warm. It was everything I could have hoped for. This is why you bring your gear in a sled. You can carry so much more to make this be comfortable. It's 20 degrees outside right now. When I woke up this morning, which was about an hour ago, it's 8 o'clock now, I woke up about 7. It was 23 degrees inside the tent. It's now warmed up to 30, but mostly that's because I'm up moving around. My body heat isn't all trapped in my gear. When I went to sleep last night, I was not zipped all the way into my sleeping bag, and I woke up at some point and was a little cold. So I zipped in, pulled the hood around my head, I put a jacket across my neck to keep any drafts out, and I was completely warm all night long. I had a couple of hand warmers in the foot of the sleeping bag, but with all this gear, it was completely comfortable. I woke up this morning feeling great. So this was probably one of the best night's sleep I've ever had while camping. I know we got snow outside. I haven't been to look at it yet. My tarp survived. My poorly tied tarp did not collapse. That's good news. I can hear the snow on it, though. If I hit hard enough, the snow will fall off. I'm going to go take a look outside, see what kind of snow we have, maybe get some tea going this morning. Well, there's my view this morning. The tarp did its job. It was not the best job I did tying up that tarp, but it kept all of this off of my tent. So this was very much a lesson in how not to tie your tarp. Oh well. Yeah, next time I'll try and bring more rope so I can string it up a little higher, make it a little more taut. But at least that's not all in my tent. We did get a fair amount of snow last night. The goal in coming out here was to try and have a winter camping trip that was as luxurious and comfortable as possible. I was hoping the sled would enable me to do that, and I will say it was a success. I woke up feeling warm. I normally do not like to be cold. I don't like snow. Here I am, and I live in Michigan. I know that doesn't make sense, but this is where I am. I was looking for a way to get outside and enjoy myself a little more, even when the weather isn't great. The sled was definitely a success. There are a few things with using the sled, though. It requires certain trails. You couldn't do it on trails that are narrow, trails that are too rocky, too steep. The uphills are difficult with the sled. All that weight just pulls behind you. And you don't want anything that's so narrow there's a risk of the sled sliding off the side and taking you with it. So you need somewhere that's fairly level with wider trails. And this place fits the bill. This is Nordhouse Dunes in Michigan. It's a great place for dispersed camping. I'm so happy I built the sled, and I will most likely do this again at some point. As far as what it takes to be comfortable outside in the cold, a lot of it was the sleeping gear, to have the 2 sleeping bags, the sleeping bag liner, the extra mat. I think all of that really contributed to staying warm overnight. I love the little hand warmers. I've got some in here right now. Little ones, you just put a little air to them and they heat up. I usually will put a couple of those in my sleeping bag overnight. My hands are always cold, so I like to have them inside my gloves. Those are a big thing towards helping stay warm. The other thing is enough layers. I usually have a base layer and an outer layer for pants. For shirts, base layer, mid layer, and then generally a heavier, like a fleece layer, and then I also have my little puffy coat that I can wear. Lots of layers. The other thing is to stay dry. If your clothes get wet, it's much harder to stay dry. I brought lots of extras on this trip. I brought extra socks. I brought 3 or 4 pairs of gloves. I have a few different coat options. It worked out nicely because last night I spilled water in my tent and got it all over my pants to be able to change pants. And I always have hiking gear, camp gear, and sleep gear. 3 separate sets of clothes. And on this trip I even brought extra hiking pants just in case. Other ways to stay warm, I also brought the heater on this trip. It was my first time to bring a heater. It was a bit overkill. It's really too large for my tent. I set it up in the vestibule, but with the tent door closed, it's a bit too much heat too close to the tent door. I did it a couple times, but didn't leave it on very long. It's better to have the door open, but of course then you're letting a lot of the heat right back out. And I did find it heats up the tent really fast to a very high temperature. So I could be 80 degrees Fahrenheit inside the tent in no time, which is very warm. And then it cools down fairly quickly afterward. It doesn't stay long because, of course, there isn't much insulation in a tent. Am I happy I brought it? Yes. It was great for trying to change clothes. Just heat the tent up first, then change. Much more comfortable that way. I did not use it overnight. I would not use it while sleeping or not being around to watch it. It definitely gets hot. And like I said, it's bigger than I expected. If I had just a smaller version of that, would be just about perfect. But it was great to have it out here. And as I said, warm, comfortable. To have the sled, I brought so much extra with me as far as clothes and sleeping gear and food. I would say this trip was a great success. I'm happy with the sled, the way it performed. I love being able to take the extra gear with me, so I was completely comfortable overnight. It was nice to wake up this morning and think, wow, I'm actually warm right now. Not just, I'm okay. I was warm. It felt great to wake up that way. It makes it a lot easier to get up in the morning when you're already warm and comfortable. This was a great trip. I will definitely do this again. Working on taking the tent down and having some struggles with it. It's mostly down. I've got these clips where the rainfall clips to the tent, and 2 of them are frozen. I don't know if it's snow packed in them or if it's just frozen in place, but I cannot get them undone. So I'm going to fold up the tent with them still attached. Well, it turns out my tent poles are frozen too. I got them partially collapsed, but this end will not come apart. It's frozen solid. I either need to thaw it out or just strap it to my sled as is, which is what I'll probably do. I've been walking around with the hose for my water bottle in my coat so it would thaw out, and I went to put it in the water bottle, and the lid is now frozen onto the water bottle, so I can't actually open my water. It's fine, I don't have far to go. I could thaw it out if I was in a pinch, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Those frozen tent poles are just hilarious to me. It's beautiful out here, and today is a blue sky sunshine day, which is very rare in the winter here. Winter glamping was a resounding success. I am back at the Adventure Mobile, all packed up, and I will definitely be doing this again.
If you like the video, please hit the like button. And if you like hiking and backpacking videos, subscribe to my channel to see more. Thanks for watching.